So here I was not expecting another major patch for War Thunder anytime soon due to the large new power update that we recently got, the Battle Pass, a new squadron vehicle and the upcoming winter event, but Gaijin do continue to surprise and have started off the devblog season for this currently unnamed final patch of the year with a devlog for the American A-7D Corsair II. This is of course a development of the well-known F-8 Crusader designed to replace the widespread A4 Skyhawk, although with many notable changes to move towards the ground attack role that was intended for the A7. The A7 entered service in the mid to late 1960s and left service with the United States in 1991 after taking part in many notable operations, such as many during the Vietnam War, as well as Desert Shield and Desert Storm. And while the United States retired the aircraft in 1991, it remained in service with export nations until as late as 2014 with the Hellenic Air Force. Now in War Thunder, we will, as mentioned, be getting the A-7D. This is a US Air Force version of the aircraft that is powered by a single dry thrust only TF41 turbofan, which allows the aircraft to reach around 700 miles an hour or 1,100 kilometers per hour. This does of course mean that the Corsair II is a subsonic aircraft, although in the current meta that's not too much of an issue if you have capable armament to back yourself up. This is of course something that has been demonstrated quite well by the Harrier variants that were recently added to the game. However, due to this somewhat slow speed and lack of an afterburner, it is mentioned in the devblog that staying close to other allied pilots for support would be recommended, and this is something that I completely agree with. As for weapons, what have we got? Well, the earlier versions of the A7 used the 20mm Colt Mark 12 cannons that were featured on the A4 Skyhawk and the F-8 that this aircraft was derived from. However, the A7D upgrades to the well-known M61A1 Vulcan. Of course, this is the well-known 20mm revolver cannon that is featured on many high BR aircraft in-game, such as the F4 Phantom, the Mitsubishi T2 and F1, and the F-104 Starfighter. It is mentioned in the devlog that despite having more ammunition than the A4 Skyhawk, the A7 will expend this ammunition much faster, of course due to the 6,000 round per minute fire rate of its M61 cannon. As can be seen in the devblog preview images, the A7D will have a considerable selection of payload options to go alongside its internally mounted cannon. Unfortunately, no weapons are specifically mentioned aside from the M61, however it is mentioned that the A7D will be able to carry up to 15,000 pounds of payload, and that is pretty crazy for an aircraft of this size, beating out most US bombers in War Thunder and getting close to the payload of the B-29, which can carry up to 20,000 pounds. There's certainly no doubting that the A-7D can carry a considerable bomb load for its size. As well as bombs, it is mentioned that the A7 can take air-to-air missiles, rockets, and gun pods. For missiles, I'm assuming that the missiles shown in the devblog pictures are A9Es, although they could potentially also be A9Gs, as are seen on the Harrier. As for rockets, I believe that the pods shown in the devlog are those for the folding fin aerial rocket Mighty Mouse, which is of course a very common rocket in War Thunder, and I would also suspect that the A7D would be able to carry Zunis, although I have not seen anything confirming this for the aircraft in-game. Finally, for gun pods, I could make out two distinctive pod types, the first of which is for the M61 Vulcan, clearly the same pod type that is present on the F4 Phantom. The second pod I admittedly have not seen before, although I'm going to guess that this could potentially be a pod version of the 20mm Colt Mark 12 that was used on previous versions of the A7. It is said in the devblog that the A7 will be a top-tier jet attacker. Personally, I would expect that this will be yet another vehicle on the American attacker line, perhaps before or after the AV-8C. However, I do believe that it is also possible to see the A7 placed after the B-57B due to its considerable payload. Nonetheless, a nice addition to start off devblog season with, perhaps also hinting at the long-rumoured F-8 Crusader from which the A7 was derived. Nonetheless though, pretty good start, and I will hopefully be making more videos as more devblogs roll in. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, consider dropping a like, and if you wish to see more content such as this, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.